Have you ever thought about where buttons came from? Well, it's not on the top of my mind either. I just always knew that if you went to the store, you would find little cards with buttons on them. But recently, I took a cruise on American Cruise Line on the upper Mississippi River, and one of the stops was in Muscatine, Iowa. Hi, I'm Sandy from Sandy Over 70. Welcome to my channel. Back in the early 1900s, Muscatine was the pearl button capital of the world. They were making over 1.5 billion buttons a year in Muscatine. The little pearl buttons were a really big deal in Muscatine and put it on the map. I visited the National Pearl Button Museum in downtown Muscatine and learned the history of button making in the US. And guess what? Buttons were made from the shells of mussels. And being on the Mississippi River, Muscatine was the perfect place to harvest the mussels. In fact, they harvested so many mussels that they depleted the supply eventually. Muscatine wasn't the only city that was doing button making. Of course, it was copied by many other cities along the Mississippi, but Muscatine was first. It all dates back to the 1800s when German immigrants brought their button making skills here to the US. The museum tells the story of the 75-year history of the button making industry in Muscatine, from the 1910 union strikes to the 1930 fashion changes and the 1940s introduction of plastics. About 37% of the world's buttons came from this small town in 1905. Another cottage industry, mostly of women and children, would sew these buttons onto cars for sale. I love the name. I love saying Muscatine. It's so melodic. That evening, we took a walk in the park where we had docked. I could not believe my eyes when I saw a beautiful bridge awash in a rainbow of colors lighting up the night. It literally took my breath away. It was the Norman F. Beckey Bridge, completed in 1972. It was the first bridge over the Mississippi River with LED lights. It stretches 1,500 feet from Iowa to Rock Island County, Illinois, across the Mississippi River. I had heard about the unofficial world's largest watermelon slice being located in Muscatine. It was located on the riverfront, not far from where we were docked, or so I thought. So we headed out toward it. I could see it in the distance, but it seemed the further we walked, the farther away it got. I mean, it must have been a good half a mile away. But anyway, we finally arrived at the slice of watermelon, and I took all kinds of photos. I love a good photo op. So here I am. American Cruise Line provides a hop-on, hop-off bus at each of their stops. They call it the Loop. And so we hopped on to visit the Discovery Park and Environmental Learning Center. It offers numerous natural history exhibits, aquariums, live reptiles, and amphibians, and more than 100 mounted animals all over the ceiling. However, the highlight of this visit was my first ever touching, holding, and allowing a snake to crawl on me for the first time in my life. I really enjoyed it. It was a friendly snake, and I wasn't at all afraid, although if I see a snake on the ground, I'm the first one to scream and run away. Next, we hopped back on the bus and visited the Muscatine Art Center. It's in a 1908 mansion with an extra gallery attached. There are period rooms with family furnishings and a beautiful Japanese garden. Now, the unusual thing about this art gallery is that Muscatine is a very small town of just a little over 23,000 people, and yet it has art by Renoir, Degas, Chagall, and Pissarro. If you've been to Muscatine, Iowa, let us know in the comments and share your experience there. I hope you enjoyed this visit to Muscatine, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. It's free. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.